origin of me.
Lois Lane. Welcome to Comics League Dark. I am Jared, and my camera is foggy. How are you guys doing? I am here with Robert and JJheat. What's up, gentlemen?
Flame on! Oh, sorry about that.
Sorry.
Either way is fine. Either way is fine. And so today we are discussing. We have quite a few topics. I don't know why my camera is having this issue. Give me 1 second. And okay, there you are. So we're gonna talk about Peter David. We're gonna talk about DC versus Marvel, some Superman news, and the overhate some creators get. So let's start with Peter David. Peter David. So this is one of the most blatant examples, and it's an example that will stay with Marvel forever of them royally screwing over a creative.
More than DC ever had. This has always been the prime example. Because say what you will, DC really hasn't touched much of Peter David's creation. Even Young Justice, he didn't create. So he didn't get any royalties for that. He didn't create it. He wrote the majority of the issues, but he doesn't fall under creator.
And with Aquaman stuff, it's mostly the Jeff Johns stuff.
So DC, well, mostly is what we're saying, Jay. Mostly, but compared to Peter David, I mean.
Yeah, but
so DC doesn't have much of a leg to stand on.
But when it comes to Marvel, and I just love when Marvel did a post talking about the legacy of Peter David, and they got roasted in the chat saying, "You basically screwed this guy. What are you doing?"
Get this. He wanted to write, and DC offered him to write a story for the 80th anniversary special, and he couldn't. Why? Because he was under exclusive contract to Marvel. But did that exclusive contract include health insurance? No. Why? Because it would set a bad precedent, according to the lawyers.
I thought exclusive contracts do include that.
Depends.
I guess maybe if you negotiate it that way, I don't know.
No, it's if they offer it if they're trying to tempt you over. In Peter's case, there was no tempting. Or, I don't know why.
But still, it's like with all of his stuff that they reprint and then adapt into movies, they have no excuse.
And don't get me started on the way their collection stuff is. Turns out you don't get royalties unless it reaches a certain threshold.
Yeah, I figured that's kind of the way that works. But it is utterly ridiculous because here's the thing. When you look at the MCU Hulk, and this is a problem that Marvel has in general with the comic book creators, because it's like even Ed Brubaker talked when he got paid more for his cameos in the Winter Soldier than he ever did for creating Bucky, the Winter Soldier.
Yep.
Yeah, Peter David was involved in that. Leading up to that storyline. I don't know if he was ever credited for the run itself.
Oh, I just realized. You know one character that Peter David deserved royalty for? And I'm positive Gunn would have given it to him if he had the power to do it. Phyla-Vell!
Oh, yeah.
He would have.
I'm positive that Gunn, if he had much more control, he would have.
Yeah, so it's like, because when you look at how much of a contribution this man made to comics, I don't want to turn this into a bashing on Marvel because this is a tribute to a truly great creator. Because this is one of those occasions where I look back on my comic book collection. It's like the amount of stuff that he at least contributed to, and or the amount of a lot of the characters that he defined. It's truly staggering. And let me put it to you this way. Let's be thankful that someone existed that truly loved these, particularly Hulk. Because I got news for you. Most of the well-known Hulk stuff is him.
Peter David. Yes. Majority.
But I would say this, though. There have been some at least decent to good. Because I'll say this, a lot of my Hulk collection with a few holes. Like, for example, the only run I don't have anymore, I do not have it all, is the Bruce Jones and the Daniel Wade prelude to Planet Hulk stuff. Otherwise, I have everything Hulk from Peter David to today.
That's great. And
you can follow it.
And here's the thing. There are plenty of other Hulk stuff I love, like Philip Kennedy Johnson and Immortal Hulk. Fan-freaking-tastic books. And it's one of those things where when I go to my comic book store, because of the way it works, that I pick up my pulls and I get a couple of trades. Most of the time, I'll pick up some Hulk because it's really great stuff, and I love the character so much. But yeah, it's like
funny thing though. You want to know how this all started?
Yeah, sure. What's up?
Okay, leading up to Peter David stuff, Byrne got on the book after swapping Alpha Flights with Bill Mantlo, but he didn't stay on long. He was getting fed up with editorial. He went over to DC, but he did marry off and separate Bruce from the Hulk and marry off Bruce and Betty. And then Al Milgrom wrote the book for a while. Eventually had Rick Jones become a Hulk being and everything. And Bruce became gray. But you know what Al then told Peter when he was going to come on? And by this point, Peter wasn't even a writer. He was actually involved with one of the more, desk job stuff.
Mm-hmm.
When he wanted to write,
he was more involved in the toys. At some
no,
point.
that's that desk job.
Oh yeah. Because I was like, because originally he went from regular job to like that, right?
Yeah, but and Al told he's gray. I can make him green if you want. And Peter said, no, keep him gray. I have ideas. But
I love that when a creator is like, no, I can work with this. I love that.
Because this is back in the day when you could have an issue that seemed to be of an ongoing storyline, and then a new character comes on in the middle of that storyline. They didn't do the whole wrap it up or have someone fill it in to wrap it up. They just kept it going.
Yeah, I always hate that because it's like, okay, where did this come from? But I respect the hell out of that. How long was he on the Hulk?
Oh, dude, he was on from, let me put it this way, issue 331 in the 80s, all the way up to 467, over 130 issues.
My God.
So roughly almost 10 years or so.
That's like Jeff Johns' Aquaman, Green Lantern level.
That's thereabout.
To a degree. But yeah, it's like a lot of the really cool stuff about
12 years.
Mm-hmm.
And we got Grey Hulk, Joe Fixit, Future Imperfect. You and I recorded something with that today. The Professor Hulk, the leader becoming the more, instead of the tall head, he got the more massive brain. In fact, he brought the leader back from obscurity right off the bat.
By the way, quick thing. So he created Maestro, right?
Yes.
I wonder if he got royalties for the Avengers game.
Nah.
No.
Possibly. Oh, you know what? I just found out a character he created that it was recently in the movies? The Foreigner from Kraven the Hunter.
Really?
That was his creation.
A movie with Jackie Chan called The Foreigner? Was that
different? That don't count.
Oh, okay.
Your name don't count.
Mm-hmm. But Barry Cameron says, was Peter David the first person to look at Aquaman and go, actually, he can be badass if you think about it?
Yeah, basically, he's the one who made him, instead of just simply being, oh, I'm the king. He's like, no, I'm king. You listen.
And what's interesting, I think that's what they pulled from for the Aquaman, the DCAU.
Oh, yeah.
In the Justice League era, which, and we were talking about this before we went live. Jeff Johns solidified Aquaman as a badass, but I'm going to tell you this. That whole trend started with Peter David, because obviously previous to that in the comics, he was a joke. So I always say Peter David walked so Jeff Johns could run.
Actually, he almost righted the ship, but you know what threw things off?
What?
Entourage.
Oh.
Because they had the Aquaman movie subplot.
Oh, wait. Remind the audience of that.
I don't know much about Entourage other than it's about a bunch of entourages, of course. But there was a subplot in there about an Aquaman movie being made, and it was a farce.
Okay.
And that basically damaged things because that's what was. It's like if Big Bang Theory just mocked Hawkman as being useless and everything.
They did
and
mock Aquaman, by the way. They did.
But no, I'm saying they royally made like a big plot point because it was a sub arc. This movie it wasn't just one joke. It was a sub arc.
Oh wow, that's great.
It went through multiple episodes. That's what what hurt Aquaman. Could have brought back the joke stuff because Andras didn't care.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm like, again, he started it, and then later Jeff solidifying the new 52. Because here's the thing: what Jeff said in the DC documentary is, hey, you can take any character, literally any character. If you have the right story, you can turn them from a joke character into a badass. I mean, Aquaman made $1 billion the first movie.
But here's another thing with Peter David. Look at the artists he worked on Hulk. He worked with Dale Keown, Tom McFarlane, Gary Frank, Adam Kubert.
God tier. Dale Keown's art on like Hulk the End is like, so I love because they think about Hulk. It's like you need writers that can draw like really jacked people for the Hulk.
By the way, I was gonna say by the way, Peter David almost ended his run way too early originally. Want me to tell that tale?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. There was a point in the story where Betty was pregnant and Bruce was already gamma radiated. And that was something that Peter had. He had planned for it. But then because they weren't sure about it, one of the editors, I think it might have been Bob Harris or someone, came in, did a fill-in story, and had her have an abortion. No, a miscarriage. And Peter was ready to storm off from that. So it's like, how dare you just take this issue and do it, undermine me? If it wasn't for Bobby Chase, his editor, talking sense, and then being the person blocking anyone else, who knows what would have happened.
Yeah. And then Cameron says that's what I thought because my first exposure to Aquaman was Jeff. I still have to read the Peter David Aquaman omnibus because I know they released that because I'm so gonna read that.
He got screwed.
I know.
He got screwed over during that.
That's the theme of his relation with the big two companies. More so Marvel, but to a degree also DC.
Hold on, I'm sharing some of it from the omnibuses.
Yeah.
First of all, look at that image.
That's Todd, right?
Yep, that's Todd. And that's when
wasn't the Hulk like the first character he worked on at Marvel?
Yes.
Wow.
Oh, and look, Todd here. Early Todd.
I love Hulk with a mullet.
No, that's Rick.
Oh, that's Rick. Okay.
That's Rick Jones Hulk. But yeah, just look at this first issue, and Todd wasn't on that long.
Mm-hmm.
All right, just look at all this. Look at this. Mm-hmm. Oh, and one thing I love. Okay, did you ever read the early Stan Lee Hulk stuff? Where that was when Rick and Bruce would hide in a cave, and then Bruce would, if trouble was called, he'd gamma radiate himself and make him a Hulk. To go and save the day. And I love it how, what is one of the first things that Peter David has Betty do? Say, wait a second, you can choose to change deliberately. You, mister, this is my curse? Mm-hmm. You hypocrite! Mm-hmm. And of course he said, well, hey, I never thought about it. That doesn't excuse it. He took it a wrong dead plot point and actually made it something when you realize, yeah, what the hell? That's Jeff John level going back.
There are some other things that Peter David co-wrote.
Yep.
A bunch of these.
Yep. The big one.
The really big
one. The 90s one.
Mm-hmm.
But hold on. Let me also jump on ahead to a different image. Hold on, because there's one that's like a great... Oh, going back. Come on. Oh, I hate when it freezes.
Oh yeah, me too.
I hate I'm doing this through YAC reader. So hold on.
Here we go. It's the amalgam omnibus, the one he did. Oh yeah, because he did the DC Marvel event, right?
Yeah, the main event. Okay, I'm resharing it. It's the
Which,
actual.
by the way, before you guys ask, none of those DC versus Marvel like battles were decided by the writers themselves. They was decided by the fans. That's the only reason why Storm beat Wonder Woman.
Yep. Look at this cover. Look at this cover.
Oh yeah, yes. You know what's kind of funny? You wouldn't think Grey Hulk could be so badass.
And him being a bouncer.
That's where that comes from.
That was the Joe Fixit era.
Did he create Joe Fixit?
Well, okay. Technically, Joe Fixit is just a name for the Grey Hulk, but he came up with that concept. Unfortunately, that's the case where it was just a nickname era for Grey Hulk, and that people associate with, but Peter cannot lay claim to that.
Okay.
Because cool. that is a derivative. That would fall under derivative.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then I hate to say it, same with Professor Hulk.
Yeah.
Oh, look at this.
Yeah, because you would think if he created Professor Hulk, or I mean, Robert and I have talked about this in terms of the MCU's Hulk when they did Smart Hulk and stuff. So there's that.
Yep. I'm getting.
Did he ever write She-Hulk?
Yes.
Okay, yes. I was wondering about that.
Hold on, let me go to that right here. He took over after Slott left.
Okay, I was wondering about that because I was like, if he wrote Hulk, why wouldn't he?
Yeah. And wait, I told you the joke. Remember the maestro joke?
Oh yeah.
I gotta show you that. Because
please do, because that's really good. I'm not gonna say that, but in the meantime, JJheat, what's like your exposure to like Peter David, his work? Did you enjoy his work and such?
Mostly his Hulk and of course his legendary Young Justice run.
Yeah.
So those are the two main ones I would say. But all in all, the way he was able to, and that's kind of one of the main pitfalls I would even say, not just of Tim Drake, but of his entire generation, because you could argue it's just we all know objectively it was a rebrand of the Teen Titans or Teen Titans of the 90s, let's be honest.
Yeah.
But outside of Peter David, hardly any creative team is able to do anything really substantial with Young Justice, purely from a comic standpoint. Young Justice, the animated series, that's just Teen Titans with a super spy motif. Like, let's be honest.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
By the way, he also...
Oh, yeah. So
his Supergirl run was good, too. That is true.
What DC book besides Aquaman's Supergirl did he do?
Well, Young Justice, we just said.
Besides that. Did he write Clark?
No, not no. A few issues here and random issues maybe, but otherwise never a run. And I gotta say this: if there's ever a writer who you have legions of fans saying deserved an amazing Spider-Man run, not a sub book, but the main one, but never got it. It was Peter David.
Oh, hands down.
Everyone agrees he was the one that was robbed the most. If you were ever going to give someone who actually deserved the gig, it was Peter David. Who could write a funny Peter, but witty, and still do drama. I mean, he did Death of Gene the Wolf. He did the Sin Eater story that eventually gave us Venom.
Well, again, here's the thing. It's like in the limited amount of Hulk that I've read, he balances the tone of like dark, but also funny. Like he knows how to appropriately do humor.
He focuses on character as well. It's why he left Hulk. Because people in Marvel decided, we want Hulk to smash again. He's like, no, that's boring.
Cameron brings up Spider-Man 2099.
That's the big one. He deserved royalties for that one.
Yeah, because it's not like he created like the main antagonist of Spider-Verse 2.
Highlight of his career.
Everyone agrees he deserves royalties.
Second to Young Justice, his Spider-Man 2099 run is some of his best work.
And I'll say this: he only got quit the job because of the editor who was behind everything got fired, and everyone involved quit.
Okay, I see.
I got the joke.
Yeah. I found out that I found that out, and I must definitely agree, Robert. Yeah, exactly, because. When you again, that's the thing. When you look at like what he created or worked on, I got news for you. There's no reason why this guy didn't get royalties, or at least that much.
Look,
Explain the context.
Okay, she's going through
Robert, when you told me what this was, I didn't think it'd be that funny.
That was the joke of it. The whole bit is she's going through a Ghost of Christmas with Stan Lee being Jacob Marley. And she's like, why am I going through this? I don't need this. I don't need this. And this is supposed to be the spirit of the thing yet to come. And I was like, really? I mean, really? We're dipping into that well again? A female version of the maestro? Forget it. I'm out of there. You cannot run from your future. No, but I can walk away briskly. I mean, yeah, okay. Maybe you're right. Maybe I hated being reminded of my anniversary because others who have been around this long have done so much more. But you know what? At least I'm here. That puts me ahead of a ton of people. And 30 years from now, I'll still be here, better than ever. And anyone or anything that gets in my way, they're going down. Because it's a brand new day, baby. A brand new day for She-Hulk.
Brand new day. That's an interesting.
Enough said, true believers. Enough said. But and this is John Boy Meyer's artwork, but I love this. Just look at it. And again, Jen's just like, really? We're doing this?
She's like, no. And what's up, Solmar? How you doing? Yes, we are fans of Transformers and G.I. Joe. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, but again, and then let's not forget, like I said, a run that really deserves so much more love, even though it is beloved. And that's, hold on.
Let me see here. Yeah, X Factor. There you go.
Yep, and especially this version.
Okay, I think I read something of that version. Hang on. I'm fairly. I remember I have read X Factor before. It might have been like a tie-in or something. I don't know if it was him, but that's cool. I dig that. But yeah, so ultimately, this will be. And by Robert, I think you are muted. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. This will serve, I think, as a...
Sorry about that.
It's all good. This will serve as a permanent black eye on Marvel. Like in terms of creator, like, company relations, this will... I wouldn't be surprised if this makes people think twice about working for Marvel.
And
to an extent.
I gotta say, the way... Max Fasaggio came out. By the way, Jared, could you move me up a bit, maybe? Because I feel I'm being covered. Max Fasaggio decided to try and come out and reopen old wounds and everything. Okay. And by the way, you want to know what the racist slur was?
What?
Gypsy.
Oh, I figured that's what that was. Okay, so
Gypsy.
here's context. So Max Fasaggio is a permanent stick in the mud on the internet. It's a comic book writer that likes to stir people up for, like, I guess, clout and, like, attention to her books. So what she did the day after the man died, she posts about him being problematic and doing a racial slur, which was just gypsy.
And that is the one slur that you have more people who are willing to argue, saying, like, that's been around as not a slur for so long. It's kind of hard for people to adjust.
And you can argue, isn't there a DC character named Gypsy?
Yes!
Yeah, that's what that is! That's what I thought it was! Yeah,
exactly.
Yes, JJheat. It has the energy of, if you don't buy my politics, don't buy my...
No. That was... Kelly Sudaconic,
no,
I believe.
I'm saying it has that energy.
She has the baseball bat bit.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm sorry. It's like, if you have your own personal problems with the guy, fine. A day after the man dies, are you kidding me?
She didn't care, and I don't get
why no one hires you.
By the way, you want to know something else he wrote? Peter David wrote Battlestar Galactica versus Battlestar Galactica. The 80s series meeting the reboot.
I was about to say, oh my God.
And yes, you have Starbuck not only meeting Starbuck, but banging Starbuck. Yep. He went there.
Jesus, that's awesome.
I mean, come on. That's the most obvious thing you could do.
That's so yeah. But NJ says, did he write Cassie Sandsmark Wonder Girl well in Young Justice?
Yes, I would say so.
Yeah.
Well, she really debuted in that run, if you really want to be honest.
No. She debuted in John Byrne's Wonder Woman.
Okay, thank you.
By the way, other thing, come on. You're having Katie Sackhoff and Dirk Benedict. Come on!
Yeah, I know. But yeah, exactly.
Come on!
It makes me wonder how Peter David would have written Wonder Woman if he got the chance, or if he wanted to.
That's debatable. That is debatable.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about when he ever has. I don't think he ever really did.
Definitely not a full run. He might have gotten a writing credit or two, but he never got a full.
By the way,
and by the way, nice. By Cameron says that that is really Kurt. People only Kurt wait until the creator's dead, which is really disrespectful.
The day after.
At least wait like a week to a month. Come on.
Yep, and again, you're opening all wounds that even Gail Simone would defend him for.
Yeah, exactly. That if there's a DC character named Gypsy, could it be that's who he was referring to?
No. He was talking about Scarlet Witch in that regard.
Well,
because she was Romanian, he was using the term gypsy.
Okay, but
so he was using it, and he would argue with people who try to say that's a slur, and he's saying like, okay, as far as I know, it wasn't.
Okay, yeah.
I'm not saying that's like it's one. That's what I'm saying. It's one of those words where you're like, eee.
Yeah, that's true. That it's ambiguous or something like that. Sonar asks, "What Young Justice have ever been other than?"
Wait, what? Have been what?
What do you mean?
There have been multiple Young Justice runs. Granted, not many as Teen Titans, but
actually, there's only been the one main run. Then you had the one based off of the anime series, and then the Dark Crisis tie-in. Other than that,
yeah, because I think DC gets it because Young Justice is basically another Teen Titans team.
Cameron, 90% of it, 95% of it, but he didn't create the concept.
Yeah, so he can't get like royalties for like the show and stuff. But
no,
if they adapt his stories, maybe.
Now he was writer consultant for a few episodes of the animated series.
Yeah, he was.
And another great thing he did.
Oh wow!
Janice Val, Captain Marvel. Oh, and here's the case of his humor. Now, of course, this is very dated, but wait a minute. You had a talk show. The superhero guy, Jones. No, the name is Smith. Will Smith. Fine, whatever, Mr. Smith. Just call me Linda. Linda Hamilton. Everyone's a comic, but. You want to see one of the fun? First of all, look at this artwork by Chris Cross. Look at these facial expressions.
Very expressive. I love that.
But I love, though, there's one issue, and it's very early on, where, right here, because Byrne was on Hulk. He did an annual where he did a chapter one-ing of Hulk's origins, like he did for Spider-Man Chapter 1, and Peter did this, and Byrne was ticked off.
Oh, really?
Yep. But you want to see the page that actually got me to get Chris Cross on my show?
Okay, sure. And by Timeo says, for some reason, everyone writes that Peter David's great achievement is the creation of Spider-Man 2099, forgetting other achievements. No one will ever write Hulk for that long. Yeah.
Yep. Here we go. This bit. Excuse me, miss. I have an entire box of Young Brew, number 1, special collector's edition. How much you give me? $1. $1 a copy? But they retail for $2.50 a piece. I bought this 5 years ago as a college investment. Not $1 a copy, $1 for the whole box. And frankly, it's guys like you who've ruined the fun of comics. I love it. It's like, this woman was rude to me. Rude and arrogant. I know, but Marlowe's eye candy. Customers love her. Because he's asking for it. First, he wants the manager. Manager shows up. So you're not going to do anything about it? Okay, fine. I want to see the owner. Yo.
She's the owner?
Yeah, but he's like, look at that face. Look at that
yeah,
face.
I love that because that's basically Peter David calling out the speculators. I love that.
Yep, and I love it. You think more people figure that you named the place after your hair.
Okay.
Golden or. But again, look at Chris Cross's facials.
That is really good. That is really good.
By the way, it's indirectly because of Peter David, we end up getting one of the worst comics ever made. You know why?
Why?
Because people, I just forgot the writer's name, but one of the writers, it was the editor-in-chief at president of Marvel at the time, and Joe Quesada.
Oh!
Marvel!
Why did you say that name?
As soon as you said, like, when the editor-in-chief of Marvel, I was like, oh, okay, so the story was, all right.
Marvel, yep.
Go ahead, explain.
Okay, basically, they were getting fed up with Peter David. They were just wanting an excuse to just cancel this Captain Marvel book that I'm showing. And so they said, okay, we're going to make it. And they felt Peter David doesn't write well, even though he writes circles around you. So it was decided. You would have 3 books. You would relaunch Captain Marvel again with a new #1 and do a different story. You'd have Marvel. And you'd have
his favorite comic book.
And you'd have Ultimate Adventures, which was mediocre. But that was written by Randy Zimmerman, a Hollywood writer that was good friends with Joe Quesada that Joe was trying to push hard and bombed. Because he's the guy who did the infamous Spider-Man Get Craven mini.
Oh, yeah.
So that same guy. Oh, and Ultimate Adventures, it basically just gave the Ultimate Universe a Batman XP that was a joke.
That's what that
Yeah,
came from?
that's what that's from.
With a Harley XP and the principal, it's like Joker.
Wow, I was wondering where that came from.
Oh, yeah, that was the other tie-in to all of that. And Peter David won the bet. Handedly.
Yeah, and then I love where the guy behind it who wrote Marvel was like, yeah, we'll still do Marvel because I'm the head of the company. I don't have to.
He openly admitted it.
Yeah, he openly admitted it in the book.
Now, granted, eventually led to them trying, there's something else I want to show. Something, okay. What led into the Captain Marvel book was, the Avengers Forever miniseries. You remember that? That was the one they tried to fix a lot of the time kerfuffles and everything. Mm-hmm. And during that story, you had Rick showed up, older, missing an arm and everything. But he's from the future, and he's trying to give advice. So what does Peter David do? He actually, and you think this is way in the future. Actually, within it by issue 20, he had him go through a story where he gets aged up and loses an arm. Yep. And then, hold on, let me share it. Then, there it is. This happens. Plucked out of time and then popped back again. Just got pulled into the past. That's what happens. People always forget that when they see future incarnations of themselves. So in other words, rather than just leave you dangling and think it's just some random future, he decided, I'm going to explain and just get it over and done with. Mm-hmm. And then eventually Rick got his arm back and was set back to his proper age. But imagine that. He went out of his way to explain some other writer's plot point that he was under no obligation to do and make a story out of it.
Yeah, but Timo says that the funniest standoff story in comics, which comic book will be better made, Captain Marvel or Marvel? I know. That was that's one of the funniest things ever. They decided to have a fan contest. This fan favorite series about Captain Marvel. The good Captain Marvel, by the way. I want to make sure it's not Carol.
Okay, I'll get this. During the beginning of the arc, they had a character, this actress, who got killed and was following Marlo around, and she's then brought back to life. So, of course, she's happy. She goes now. She's been dead for months in the real world. So she goes to meet up a friend of hers, and hold on, where is right here. She's just like, hey, how's it going? You're dead. You're a zombie. He's ready to shoot him, and it's just like, are you nuts? It's me, Lorraine. How can you think I'm dead? Because I went to your funeral. I saw them cremate you. I helped spread your ashes. Oh, well, I guess that would do it.
Again, his facial expressions are great.
I love Chris Pratt. Like I said, this is what got me to get him on my show, was praising this work. Because the man does great face. And this is still the first run. The first run lasted up for a good 35 issues.
Yeah. So now, the last thing I want to talk about with Peter David is Future Imperfect, because
yep. Wait.
That is like that's one of the best Marvel stories, period.
We just went over it today. Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's like I'm putting it up there as one of the best in general Marvel stories, because
look at that. Can we show them the joke?
Oh yeah. So wait.
Okay, what does this look like? Okay, JJheat, what kind of children's book does this kind of page look like?
I'll give you a hint. The title is a question.
Doctor Who?
No. Look at how many people there are in this shot,
and how many objects closely clustered.
Oh, where can you find I forget the exact title.
Where's Waldo?
Where's Waldo?
Now show him.
There he is.
There's literally a Where's Waldo in this.
And we made a joke when we went over. I'm like, it looks like a Where's Waldo, but then wait a second.
Literally live, this happened.
Yep, in our recording, you will see it.
Hey, in the trophy room, to the side, it's cut off.
Let me see if it's on this version, because this is the omnibus version.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Zoom in. So in the trophy room, there's a picture of Superman.
You can barely see it, but it's clearly there.
In addition, that they have like the first part of his ass, but literally Superman.
Yep.
I love that.
But
this is the occasion of when it's like the perfect storm of a great writer and then George Perez.
Yep. So, there's only one problem.
Which is? Oh, yeah.
Bulk pretty much gets assaulted.
Yeah, I'm like, no, now it's not the girl's fault because she's mind brainwashed.
Well, mind broken.
But that's why, like, my show sends her in there. But still, I'm like, why did you do that?
Yep, this is the omnibus. So remember I told you what happened at the end with him throwing the shield?
Mm-hmm.
Look, at the same time, we see that Char and her father and everything dealing with this guy. Hulk throws it. And drink. So didn't land far, but I'm sure Rick manipulated to take this guy out to help the girl.
Yeah, I like that. But yeah, so it's like when you have the hyper amazing art of Perez combined with Peter David's writing, it is like utterly superb.
Yep, hold on. I'm also just moving up to you had Spidey 2099 meeting up with Maestro.
Oh, there you go.
But yeah, you also had the Maestro minis that he did.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the point when he was so sick. Oh, Spidey 2099.
There you go.
Here we go. See?
Mm-hmm.
Him and Maestro.
Mm-hmm. I love where Maestro goes, "Do you take me for a fool?" And Spider-Man 2099 goes, "Well, I kind of hoped."
I love that.
I love that.
I kind of hope. Oh, how's this? One of the better Greg Land books when he did this mini.
Yeah, before he started tracing.
No. This is during his tracing days, but I think this is him doing better stuff. But hold on. I'm getting to the Maestro books because where is it? Here we go. Look, first we open up with Dale Keown artwork.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that.
By the way, Timo says that he was shocked when he found out that David started writing Hulk when he was 20 years old. Do you think many authors in the 70s and 80s wrote their iconic works? Claremont and X-Men. That's when that started.
Yep. And look at that. Look at this artwork then. It goes from Keown to this.
Oh, jeez.
But I won't go any further. Wait, Silver Surfer, that story, you saw Silver Surfer earlier, that was during Secret Wars.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, so that was dope. And again, what a titan of the industry that we unfortunately lost. I mean.
And got screwed.
Got royally. This will be like, I'm sorry.
Marvel went out of their way. Marvel went out of their way to screw them over.
This is going to be the legacy of Marvel. You wonder why the talent pool, if they're going to one of the big twos, chances are they're going to DC.
By the way, okay, you know about the what if that had Venom merge with Spidey and become Poison?
Which one?
That was the What If of the Other, where Peter died and then reborn. Well, the what if was, what if Peter rejected it, and then Venom filled in the void, and he and Venom and Peter merged. They didn't bond, they merged.
Oh, that's interesting.
And that's where we got a version where Peter is now poison. That was a Peter David creation. And before we had Red Hulk, we actually had Peter David do a What If General Ross became Hulk. And get this, he had the mustache.
Yeah. Tevia says, why didn't Marvel help him?
You know, I think he missed this, me saying this.
Yeah.
The lawyers say it set a bad precedent. I'm not kidding.
That's probably what it is. Considering how bad the press is at that comments made, Marvel is not gonna be what kind of thing.
Well, they can't. They're not. They can't because they don't want to set that precedent.
Yeah, I know, but the thing is, it's like, again, this is always gonna be like, if there's a reason to think twice about writing for Marvel, it's gonna be this.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, that's the problem with comics in general. I hate to say it.
No, but it's like compared to DC, because if you're gonna write for one of the big two, if that's like your mission, chances are people are gonna go to DC now because it's more well known that at least they give you more benefits. By the way, Timo asked, how do you guys like David's
I enjoyed it. It was pretty good. It was him trying to be more action instead of comedic.
Mm-hmm. Is that the one that was drawn by Deodato?
Yes.
I almost got the omnibus for that. I need to get that.
I have it.
Of course you do. You have everything.
Not everything, dude. I don't have his X Factor omnibuses. I don't have the Aquaman omnibus.
Soon. But
yeah, so not in my current financial state.
Yeah. I'll check that out. But
one other funny story I gotta bring up.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I was there when I overheard it when it happened. You guys ever heard of the Spider-Man Crawl Space podcast?
No.
Long-standing podcast, still going on today. They had Peter David on early in his Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man run. And someone asked him about if Jonah was going and Peter were going to have a confrontation. And as far as Peter said at the time, no, because he thought JMS had dibs on it. But afterwards, he got curious and decided at the editorial, what does JMS have in mind? And they said, nothing. He's done with that plot point. Really? He's not resolving that? And that gave us one of the best, hands down, the best confrontation between Peter and Jonah. And he built up, and that was the last issue of his Friendly Neighborhood run, where after firing Robbie to get Peter's attention, and this is still before everything was put back in the bottle, he then decides to confront him and say, okay, you want to go? Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
And look at this. They finally have the big confrontation, Dave, that's been waiting for years.
Mm-hmm. I love how progressively a lot of Marvel writers have started drawing Jameson's stash as a certain German politician stash.
No, he always had that.
No, but I just love how like that's become like his thing. I'm like, dude, you might want to shave.
Yep. And but again, just look at this. He is because of a fan podcast asking a legitimate good question that Peter just was ready to just let go. We almost got deprived of one of the best Spider-Man issues.
By the way, you know what Peter David also, I think, wrote or helped to write?
What?
The Shattered Dimensions game.
Yep.
He was a writing consultant on that.
Yeah. And I think the
other
other
he wrote
one,
the follow-up, Edge of Time.
Yeah, the Edge of Time. That's what I was talking about, because I was like, yeah, it's like, it's practically anything with that applied to like Spider-Man 2099. Chances are he was involved in some way.
And he wrote a bunch of the Marvel movie novel adaptations.
Yeah. By the way, David's last two Marvel comics, Fantastic Four and Joe Fixit, are good, a classic comedy like the good old days.
Yep. Hold on.
Yep. There you go.
Yep. With Sonar artwork and everything.
No, it wasn't Dan Slott, Tevia.
No, Slott was involved.
He was involved, but I don't think he was the writer. I'm pretty sure
No, David did not write Shattered. He wrote Edge of Time. Slott was the writer for Shattered.
Okay.
But again, just
confused. But yeah, it's
rest in peace.
So a moment of silence. For Peter David. All right. So let's transition to another topic.
Transition.
So would you guys like to do overhate on creators?
Overhate, because that leads right from this.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to tell you, I'm going to say this. And actually, it's good that I'm talking about this too, because the hashtag campaign. The thing is, I know everyone on this panel is going to agree with me and everyone in the chat. Not liking certain writers on books is totally fine.
Oh, yeah.
Attacking them online is another thing.
That was always my problem with when Comicsgate went off the rails. It's when they started tagging creators and calling them hacks, accusing them directly of sleeping their way to positions. That's where I'm like, you guys lost it.
Yeah, exactly.
You guys lost it.
Here's the thing. Again, it's like I have zero respect for Tom King as a writer. I think I made that very clear on the show.
Yep.
But it's like constantly attacking him or calling him a war criminal. Get this. That's not helping advance what we want. That's going to make us look toxic.
Wait, one thing I want to bring up Peter David. He also did very quickly Space Cases on Nickelodeon.
Oh, okay.
That was the one that had the Black Ranger, original Black Ranger and Power Rangers involved.
Mm-hmm.
I love that show. Just want to get to that. But yeah, attack their writing, not the person.
That's what I always say. Attack the book, not the writer. Because chances are, like with Tom King, he gives ample ammunition to tear his book to shreds. But again, do not attack. And also, don't tag the artist.
Oh, jeez, yeah.
Do not, because the chances are they're not that involved with the story.
What brought this up? And we'll come back to this a little bit later, but the Batman Deadpool crossovers were announced. And who are the creative team? Start with the DC one first.
Grant Morrison.
And Dan Mora. And then you have Greg Capullo for Marvel and Zeb Wells. And boy, howdy, did the hate pour in.
Because here's the thing.
Zeb Wells is a yes man. Corporate yes. He's a loyal corporate yes man.
It's very clear that like Paul and such is not like his baby. It's more like it's the editorial guy, based upon the fact when editorial says face front to Paul Evers,
and he keeps forcing him in other books.
Yeah, I guarantee that's not a Zeb. And now again, you don't have to like the run, but again, attacking the writer is not. I met the man. And you know what? How his attitude screamed to me. He didn't say it, but I could just tell. I wish I was doing my own thing. Mm-hmm. That's what my interaction with him screamed was. I wish because he knew, even when he was just past 25, he knew he was off at 60-ish. Mm-hmm. Whatever the issue he was off at. He already knew that he was going to be off by then. What does that tell you? He was on for a limited amount years before he even got there. Yeah, exactly. And it's like he gets a lot of heat also for the Kamala Khan thing. But again, I count that more of like editorial telling him, okay, kill her and resurrect her as a mutant. Yep. Or some people claim the order was to simply make her a mutant. He chose to do it. I don't buy that. I really don't. Because Nick Lowe is the one who told him, you're going to get so much hate for this. You're going to have to go into hiding. And they legit said, in the lead up to who's going to die, because people thought it was going to be Mary Jane. Of course. Oh, now, is Zeb Wells a great writer? No. He's from good to adequate. I've liked some of his work. Let me put it to you that way. I got an example of one I like. But anyway, it's like, while Robert grabs that, the thing is, I think that and an interesting way to think about this is the amount of projection that some fans have, because here's the problem. And by the way, NJ says, how much really are the artists involved in the story of the run? Are they there to do their job and get paid? Or they have? I mean, it depends on the creative team. I don't think that King like the reason why I don't blame like Pauline Ortega for that Steve Trevor statue in the Trinity book.
Some artists are heavily involved.
And by Robert, I was saying because in the case of like say the Steve statue in Trinity, here's why I don't necessarily think that was a Pauline Ortega idea based upon the amount of Steve worship that King has put throughout the entire run. I think that was more of a King decision.
Agreed.
But I'm just like, look, tagging the artist is not going to help because remember, particularly in terms of our hashtag, it's King off Wonder Woman. It's not about against the new Wonder Woman creative team, period.
Or fire him from the industry. None of that.
That's not going to happen. Unless he comes out as like a wife beater, that's never going to happen.
It's like George Jones, prime example of a scumbag human being that deserves to forever be shot.
Britt brings up a good point. Some creators take constructive criticism and take it as personal attack.
Now, okay.
It depends on how it's phrased, though.
It depends how it's phrased, and it depends on if it comes along when they're bombarded with all the hate. Like, when I see creators say they do get their DM swarmed with hate, with death threats, well, I think they might exaggerate it a little bit. I didn't think people like CG undersold it.
Well, let me put it to you this way. I'm like, I respect more the creators that actually share those DMs because it's like, because too many times I see creators that don't get hate claim they get hate. No, so I'm like, no, it's like Dennis Camp. I talked about this before we went live. He posted picture someone sent him of like a picture of Camp's wife and the fan holding a firearm.
For what?
For the Ultimates book.
It's been good.
No,
at least I thought it was good.
Yeah, no, but and by the way, I enjoy it, but it's like that's the point because you personally don't enjoy something, which by the way is your right. We're not saying you have to shill these creators, absolutely not. You cannot, like again with me with King and Wonder Woman. I have routinely told people do not attack the man.
And I'll say this: a lot of those creators that would quick to say, "Oh, I got death threats and nothing to prove for it." How many of them are still working?
Yeah, it's like that's more of a Mags Massaggio thing.
Yep, or Megan fits more into a point, but even Megan has shown she's still decent as a writer if she's given the right project.
Yeah, exactly.
JSA World War II.
I know, and also
Justin Ruby.
Yeah. Part 2 was the better part. I still made.
Well, yeah, but still, and Jessica in Part 1.
Yeah, I gotta give you that. I'll give you that.
And she was also worked with Zack Snyder on the Rebel Moon stuff.
Fitzmartin.
Was that Mags or Fitzmartin?
No, it was Mags.
That was Mags.
Yeah.
Oh, never mind.
Not a bad book, but I'm ignoring that. But it's like again. So,
sorry, my mistake. I always mix those two up.
Yeah, I'm gonna play yes, I forgot Britt's intro. Yes, I did. Sorry, Britt. All right, I'll play it. Hang on.
He's back.
And then there's one other clip I want to play because this is what too many people in the comic book fandom need to learn.
Okay, they're talking about fictional characters.
Yeah!
I'm going to tell you this. Episode 2 of Super Wonder Legacy was our big anti-toxicity episode. Britt brought up about how she got death threats from Clois fans because she ran the Superman Wonder Woman Instagram account to the point where they started dropping the N-word.
What?
Like hard N-word. Not, like hard N-word.
Now.
Wait, people saying that that if you stop preaching Super Wonder, we'll forgive you. And I'm like, that is very
okay, those are ridiculous. That is not the norm.
Yes, exactly. And by the way, Robert, I'm going to tell you this going back to like some creators getting a lot of hate and then like thinking everyone's out for that. At first, I thought you were one of those people. I'm going to be clear on this when we first met because I didn't know you. When I got to know you, I'm like, he's a normal fan.
Yeah, trust me. I am I would never. First of all, I never condone any of that.
No,
ever.
absolutely. Because again,
that's why I said those are not the norms. If anyone
exactly.
claimed they were, then I get angry.
It's like, here's the thing, even with the Snyder fandom and the gun fandom, yes, there are social media makes stuff seem like it's more prevalent than it actually is. And that's a problem with like social media and Twitter and stuff. Like, I got news for you. The majority of Snyder fans are not the toxic people that the internet portrays them as. Same thing with gun fans. It's just the toxic ones are the more amplified one on Twitter.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Somebody, NJ says, some creators are very sensitive or put themselves in high regard, even when fans criticize them with respect. Yeah, because King did that too when a friend of mine posted, hey, why aren't you including like say Etta Candy and all these other Wonder Woman characters? Have this very respectful, and he got blocked. Now, again, it could be that like King was like seeing the criticism and seeing like people calling him a misogynist and like a war criminal. It's like, okay, I gotta block.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's where you get that double-edged sword. It's like, I still remember this. Yellow Flash would, for the longest time, bring up examples of Scott Snyder to trash on. When all Scott did was tell him knock it off or whatever, he would keep parading the screenshot, the tweet stuff. I remember Scott told me that, and by this point, Yellow Flash was parading for years and was still paraded for years after Scott told me this. How much that guys like Yellow Flash pull stunts like that to try and convince people when they take something from years ago and they keep acting like it's now.
Yeah, exactly. It's like there are plenty of times, and thank you, and you're good, Bessie. I thank you. But yeah, and it's like, here's the thing. I'm going to be very transparent. I used to watch a lot of those types of YouTubers and thought that like the majority of the comic book industry was woke. I used to think that way until I started to like hang out with normal people. And yes, I'm using that phrasing because it's very specific. And it's like when I started to, that was before I was like regularly reading the books themselves, like the weekly books, because here's an experiment. When you look at like the YouTuber people, they will find something trendy and then just scream it's woke because they need to keep repeating that thing to stay relevant.
I still remember when EVS took some of during the Charles Soule She-Hulk. Did have a great writer, good writer, but didn't show off how sexy She-Hulk was.
Oh yeah.
And then he acted like it was the current book. When you actually look at the Rainbow Rowell book, she is damn sexy in that book.
By the way, I have a trade of that. It's more of a romantic comedy for She-Hulk, but I really like that book.
But you get what I'm saying? The artwork, he was showing old artwork acting like this was now, and they were like, "Oh yeah, this sucks, it's woke." It's like,
exactly.
That's not the current book.
Exactly, and it was more of like it's more of like, so the more I started reading that, and I would actually, because a few of the books I was picking up regularly are the books that they point out as woke. Then I legit, it was like I was reading it and I was like, are we reading the same issue?
Wonder Woman getting Supergirl.
What?
Wonder Woman getting Supergirl.
Yeah, I'm like, that's a different example.
It's not canon.
Now you could say what Greg Rucka said, but still, it's like that's why I tell people, unless DC editorial specifically does something, it's not canon.
And that's what I think. How many appearances did that one character make? One.
And it's never. And here's the thing. Diana has visited the island many times before, and she's never run into.
No other writer brought it back.
Because you know what I think, Robert? Again, it's my theory. I think that DC realized that they can't. Maybe that was the plan originally, but they were like, I think maybe that was an edict from DC editorial to say, okay, we can't have her be bi because then we can't sell her toys. Do not have this character.
Oh, I would say that was above editorial. I think that was probably Warner Brothers.
That too.
To an extent, both parties.
It was an edict from on high saying we can't do that.
Yeah, I think that was the plan, and I think that's when they put the kibosh and say never.
Yeah.
Now, I will say this, though. Even if we are going to have that argument, because I know someone's going to say in the comments, the Amazons are practically a sisterhood. So why even put that in the conversation?
Well, plus, here's the thing. They started coming out with more modern comics, Robert. I don't know if you saw this. Firmly establishing that Diana was the only Amazon to be born on the island.
Oh, yeah. That's always been the way. The only time eventually did was during Gail Simone's run, and that was completely different.
Yeah, but like Cameron says, same here, Jaron. I always thought certain characters should act like this. For example, Superman should always be reason until I reread. So here's the thing: you can have a favorite version of the character. That is totally fine. 100. Like Robert loves post-crisis Superman. I like parts of him. I prefer New 52. That's fine. As long as you're not toxic about it, we can have these fun because there's merits of both. Because here's the thing. Most of my collection for Superman is a lot of post-crisis stuff. Because here's the thing. Even if I don't like a lot of what's happened, Robert, you always say this, brother. Find your comic book like love.
Joy. Find your comic joy.
That's like with me. I hate the Tom King Wonder Woman run. You know what I'm doing? I'm going back and reading a bunch of back issues of Wonder Woman runs.
You're willing to give Byrne a chance.
Yeah, I pre-ordered the freaking omnibus.
You're willing to give Byrne's run a chance to see if it was as bad or not that bad.
I have the first trade, but I don't have the omnibus. And people that I trust in the Wonder Woman fandom were telling me that I should read it. So I was like,
it's not the greatest, but it's not the worst. I'd say it's on par with Loeb's run.
Yeah, okay.
I would agree.
Yeah, exactly.
But like I said, that's where this hatred, it's like, again, going back to Zeb Wells for a second.
Yeah.
That royally took me off. How you start seeing people, and you had one guy saying, "Oh, come on, guys," and had that Shaq, image like timeout, and then that got so much hate and everything. Again, he deserves death threats for what he did to Kamala. I'm like, okay, what religion are you? Because whatever it is, you're taking it too far.
Yeah, here they are the religion of comic book nostalgia. That's
or they're. Let's be honest.
And you know what? Zack Snyder brought this up on the Joe Rogan podcast once. He says a lot of people turn this into their religion.
Oh, I still remember Nostalgia Critic put this best. When just Doug Walker. He was not a Nostalgia Critic. He was just Doug Walker saying how he does not care for fanatical fans. The ones who jump on a cause because they're bored, because they don't really believe it. They just want to have something to fill in their life. But I'm adding on that. Those who don't believe in religion or don't believe in any of that stuff, who need something to fill that void or they feel meaningless, they jump onto these causes. And that's why they're so diehard for it. It's not because they really believe it. It's because of the fact they have nothing else in their life. Yeah,
exactly. And I'm like, look,
all of them.
Yeah, it's like, well, and it's the same thing on with like a lot of these different characters. Charles Sewell got death threats just for writing the Superman Wonder Woman book.
Wait, what?
Yeah, he did. He got death threats from the Clois fan base, radical Clois fan base.
Radical.
Because he was assume I'm saying I mean the radical, because he was writing the couple book for Superman Wonder Woman.
Okay, and NJ. Okay, I know what you're saying. They're talking about two things. Clois, again, that is a small minority. That a vocal
minority.
It may
seem like a lot, but just because of the internet, and no one can beat him, even though he guys. Well, let me put it this way: the Batman fan base does get a little like with the whole because he's Batman, or like he should rizz up every single female character in the DC universe.
By the way, NJ, I just want to say this, and I'm being polite when I say this. Until I'm interacted with Jared here, I never once saw radical Clois fans until Jared pointed them out. And then I'm like, what?
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm saying, in all my years of being a comic fan, I never saw it. So I never thought they existed. Now they know they exist. I feel ashamed. But that's why I'm saying, no. That's such a minority that if I didn't see it, I've seen a lot of other radical groups. I never saw those.
And you know what? That's the cool part about you and I being friends and you being a co-host on my channel. My channel, the channel that is devoted to Super Wonder, and you're a Clois fan. It's like, see, fans can get together and have disagreements and still have fun because these are fake characters.
And notice, I never denied their existence. I may say that's not the norm, which is true.
Yeah, because any group is gonna have a toxic,
literally
any group.
The cultists, let's be honest. The cultists.
Yeah, like there's Clois cultists, there's gun cultists, there are Snyder cultists. That there's literally any fan base will have its cultists.
It's the Bat Cult.
Literally any fandom.
Yep.
Wait, that one I actually think is actually real with the whole Barbados stuff. So that one that's actually real.
I mean, real life, the old Batman, like the Bat God cult.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you were just talking about.
The Batman goes heavy because he's the goddamn Batman. Yeah, I know. I hate that because he could be anyone. I joked about that once and I annoyed people when I said that Batman could be Goku because he's Batman.
Prep time! Prep time! Oh, I gotta say, with Goku, what could prep time do to help Batman?
Yeah, literally only DC, the only two DC heroes I think could stand a chance are Superman and Wonder Woman. That's it.
Doomsday!
Well, Doomsday, yeah, that's obvious. That's obvious. Actually, you know what? That's a great transition, Robert. So let's go to our death battle. So we're gonna do our own matchups.
By the way, have you seen the new one? Simon versus Kyle or Saman from
Gurren Lagann. Bro. I'm like, no.
Unfortunately, dude, that is factual. All the stuff they said about, and I knew the moment it was made clear Kyle had to separate the ring into parts. That was his downfall.
Yeah. And Jay, yeah, I'm sorry that you encountered that, but you know what? You all, and this is to everyone that's watching this and everyone in the chat. You always have a place here at Comics League.
Exactly.
Be very clear on that.
And also,
always have a place.
And I'll say this: that's what the unfollow, unsubscribe, and mute and block buttons are for. I gotta say that.
Yep. That's what I do. I rarely get involved in any hateful arguments, or when I do, I just block and move on.
I know this might sound cold, but I say this: if you keep going and engaging with them, that's on you.
That's on you.
That becomes a you problem.
You're assuming responsibility. And see, with Tevye, he likes Super Sons. I don't. He's always welcome here, and he knows that because here's the thing: as long as we all still love DC and Marvel characters like this, I'm fine with that because I could have a conversation about anything. I've had conversations with people that hate Snyder's movies, but we end up having a good conversation about storytelling. And you know what? We start to understand each other a little more.
Now, when we start, can we ask this? What is your thoughts on the Deadpool Batman crossover?
Of all the crossovers that they could have announced, that was what I didn't see coming.
I know, but I do
love fun. How much you want to bet for the Grant Morrison one? There's gonna be some cosmic BS that's gonna
And you know what? He did. While he's never written Deadpool, he did do something up that alley when he did Doom Force, the parody of X-Force during his Doom Patrol era.
Yeah, exactly.
You know about that book, right? Doom Force. It's hold on.
Yeah, there you go. So, JJheat, what did you think of Deadpool versus Batman?
I am not surprised.
I am not surprised. And by the way, part of this topic, they did announce that there's gonna be other crossovers
just next year.
So I'm like, can we get a Wonder Woman Storm where they actually team up? That'd be cool.
All I know is that the Marvel portion is gonna suck.
Okay,
because of Deb.
I'm not gonna say it's gonna. Well, because
you got Greg Capullo doing artwork.
The artwork's gonna look pretty down.
You
know what's the best part? It's the new bat suit that's gonna be brought in the new run. So actually, it's gonna look gorgeous.
Yep, but yeah, here's the Doom Force thing. I'm just gonna breeze through to show that he can write something like Deadpool. I mean, look at that.
Oh, that is so badass.
He is clearly mocking Liefeld this whole time.
Yeah.
Look at all that. Look at the build. Look at the build of these guys.
Yeah.
The dynamic poses.
And look at the feet. Look at the feet.
What feet? What feet?
Yeah, exactly.
And look at that. See everything here. The posing, the lack of backgrounds.
All we need is the pouches, and we're good to go. Oh, there's the pouches. I'm sorry.
Yep, there's the pouches. Yep, and
that's great.
Look at that. Look at that. The eyes closed.
Yeah, I love that. But yeah, so.
But see those shows he can do.
Now let's talk about first before we get to death battles. What crossovers would we want to say? Because I could see Wonder Woman Storm or Wonder Woman She-Hulk. That'll be fun.
Wait, I got.
How about you, JJheat?
This could really go either way for me, if I'm being honest. Okay, definitely Wonder Woman and
I
Storm. That's definitely a highlight.
Oh yes,
A
yes,
follow-up.
they should. There's Wonder Woman Storm being written by Kelly Thompson. Hopefully, she's the
Why
one.
does everyone do Storm though?
Well, because Storm and Wonder Woman, because Storm is the other character that you could argue is the equivalent, and they did do like that as the fight in like Marvel vs. DC. So
But you know that was done just so they could stack the deck.
no, I know, but I'm like maybe you could do because actually Diana and Amazon crossed over in even the Amalgam books.
That's true, but I just feel that's not what I feel is the connection. It's like when they put Wolverine was Batman to become Darkclaw, and it's like, but the two never even met. Never even met.
How about Wonder Woman, She-Hulk?
That, or I gotta say, Carol Danvers. That's who I was saying, Carol Danvers.
Yeah, I could see that. Also written by Kelly Thompson because
Yes,
I
that
have
would make it
enjoyed her. I enjoyed when she wrote Carol. I'm going to tell you that right there.
Oh yeah, that run was that was one of the longer runs.
Yeah, and it's very rare that Carol gets long runs. It's like I was looking at the Brian Reed Carol run. I was like, that was long.
Yep. Hey, Bucky and Red Hood.
Yep. Oh yeah. Yeah. Honestly, I have
Winter Soldier and Red
Hood.
Hood.
Yeah.
Ooh, I mean that would. Winter Soldier and Red Hood would kind of be more one of the same. Red Hood and Punisher would be an actual crossover.
Yeah, but then they'd probably be writing Jason like the Punisher, and we don't want that.
Here's a good idea for a crossover: Punisher Joker. Like the Punisher starts hunting the Joker.
I hear he did.
Oh,
at the very end of the second Batman Punisher crossover.
Punisher,
yeah, that one's actually happened.
Punisher Scarecrow.
And dude, it's better for the hero and the heroes teaming up than the hero hunting on the villain.
This is something I would want. Come on, dude, stop.
Wait, I still say it was one of the most brilliant crossovers, and it only because it came from a fan. Darkseid Galactus.
Yeah, that's really.
Even though that was written and drawn by Byrne.
And the funny part is that even when they amalgamed, it was Thanos and Darkseid was.
I gotta say though, that first Thanos side design was crap.
My favorite one is the one that was in the
Thor Ryan.
No, it was the other one.
Oh, the one where he just looked like Darkseid, different colored.
Yeah, the one in the Punisher Wonder Woman book.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I didn't care for that one because it was just a recolored Darkseid.
By the way,
the other one actually felt like a merger.
When I reviewed that issue of Amalgam, I was like, "Oh, they made Steve Trevor cool." Ironically, they made him not like a.
Even though it was a death battle, Black Adam Apocalypse.
Oh, yeah.
Now, Death Battle was right. Apocalypse would totally kick Black Adam's butt.
Apocalypse would definitely win. I'm sorry, no.
That Death Battle was accurate.
Yeah, Diana crossover with Storm or T'Challa just makes so much sense. T'Challa particularly because he's from like a hidden society and stuff. Yeah. Wonder
Woman, Hercules.
Oh God.
I mean, we already saw technically minus her wanting to beat the crap out of him. First thing it's her. He's like her Hercules because we got that Daily Avengers. Get past that. Have her deal with a legitimately good Hercules.
Like you could have her acknowledge it, but then say like you're not him. You're clearly not him.
And she might think it at first. That's why I didn't mind
at
her.
First, but maybe because at first, 100% it makes sense.
You're all alike. You're all alike.
Yeah, but then she can even have him wrapped up in the lasso of truth. He says that's not who I am.
I got something to show you.
Yeah. Hang on.
It is scans from the companion book of Daily Avengers, the original crossover from the 80s.
Oh,
look at this artwork.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Look at
this is an interesting one.
What?
Justice League Beyond and Avengers 2099.
But there hasn't really been an Avengers 2099.
Mm-hmm. I got one. This is one you're never going to see coming. Are you ready? The Justice League and the Squadron Supreme.
No. Better idea. Squadron Supreme versus Lord Havoc.
Ooh.
Nice.
Because that's the Marvel equivalent of Doctor Doom. And that's the DC equivalent of Doctor Doom.
That could be cool. Who would Doctor Doom fight?
Ooh.
What would be a good Doom
Part
fight?
of me wants to say Lex.
No, I got this. Hear me out on this. Black Adam.
You mean the hierarchy of the
Because the hierarchy of Latveria is about to change.
Oh, wait. Scarlet Witch Zatanna.
Oh, yeah, obviously, yeah.
And again, this battle was perfectly right. Zatanna would win because Wanda's too unstable.
Yeah, exactly. And now here's the thing. The one death
Two
battle.
Thunderbolts.
Yeah, exactly. The
Loki and John Constantine.
Yes, the one like death battle that I had to rethink that because originally I thought was BS was Wonder Woman Rogue, but then I realized if Wonder Woman's in her costume that exposes skin, yeah, she's constantly going to be drained by Rogue.
But I do feel their explanation for it, where basically just by punching her would gain her strength. That's a little.
That's not the way that has ever worked.
Yeah, that's why I call it
not
BS.
Parasite.
Yeah,
Parasite that works.
Yeah, Teen Titans, Young Avengers.
That could work. I would love that. Hawkeye and Green Arrow just have an archery contest.
And no, better idea. Mockingbird, Black Canary.
Ooh.
They leave the boys at home.
I love that. That's a good one. And they have a
They
girl
leave the boys
night out.
at home and do their own thing. You think it's going to be Hawkeye, Green Arrow, but no, it's about the ladies.
Yeah. So I have an image.
Catwoman, Black Cat.
That's an obvious one.
Mm-hmm. I love that one. Hang on. So I have a meme. This is the meme that I really want them to recreate. So I'm trying to find it. So there's this meme of like if the Justice League met the Avengers, it's Superman shaking Captain America's hand, and he goes, "It's very nice to meet you." And then Captain America goes likewise. And then it's just Iron Man and Batman looking at each other. There's cash sticking out of their armor. They go, "Stark, Wade." Oh, Wonder Woman's speed is too much for Rogue. Yeah, so I'm gonna go with that.
But they didn't know that at the time when they did that first one.
Yeah, exactly. And yes, Zeke, there was a community leaderboard thing, which is very inconsistent. How about a comic where Taskmaster is deployed to bring in Batman? Oh, that would be cool.
Deadpool, not Deadpool.
Deathstroke?
Daredevil and Nightwing.
Okay, I got one. Deathstroke Taskmaster.
Too easy.
Look, let's just get out of the way. Deadpool and Harley.
Yeah, you would have to do that.
I'm kind of vague on that one because DC's been trying to make Harley their version of Deadpool for a hot minute.
Oh, the original Guardians of the Galaxy and the Legion of Superheroes.
Oh yeah, because that's kind of what they were.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
No wait, who would go for X-Men?
Yeah, I was about to bring up the X-Men.
That's the hard one. Yet they went for popularity of being teen books, Teen Titans, but really beyond that,
Abu Muhammad, Batman, Moon Knight.
Oh,
yeah,
that is so. Wait, no, better idea. Superman, Batman, Sentry, Moon Knight.
Yeah, Sentry, Moon Knight. They're both Marvel.
No, Superman, Batman, Sentry, Moon Knight.
Oh, a team up. Oh, yeah.
That was the point where Loeb made a joke of that in his Red Hulk run.
Mm-hmm. Oh, by the way, NJ, Giganta versus Ant-Man. Giganta wins. Yeah, I kind of say Giganta.
Wait, Ant-Man and the Atom.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Who can shrink the most?
Again, the Death Battle got it right because, I'm sorry, there's too much stacked in Hank's favor.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, it really is true. There's too much stacked in Hank's favor for that.
Let's pick a Captain Marvel matchup that's not Wonder Woman.
Green Lantern?
Shazam!
Any of those would work. Green Lantern also works. I like that one.
Wait. Green Lantern Nova!
Oh.
The Green Lantern Corps and the Nova Corps!
That kind of works. I like that.
Because that's pretty much what Nova was meant to be, a knockoff of Green Lantern.
All right, Tavia goes Hyperion versus Superman. Superman wins. Yep. Apocalypse versus Krakoa. Oh, you mean Apocalypse versus Darkseid? Yeah.
Mm,
Oh, a Power Girl and Carol Danvers. That's something.
true.
That could be something.
Oh, ooh. Batgirl, Spider-Gwen.
Ooh, that could work.
I mean, that was a death battle.
That'll be fun. Mary Marvel versus Captain Marvel. What's the link there, Tavia? By the way, I'm not shooting it down. I'm just wondering, how are those two linked?
Oh, well, because of the name, you know, the that's more of a meta thing, though. To be fair, Tavia.
Darkseid hears about the Phoenix and sends his army to achieve Jean. Oh yes,
I got it. Wait. First of all, that was X-Men and Teen Titans.
Yeah, it was.
That was the plot. But how's this? JSA Invaders.
Ooh, that's a good one. I got one. This is a matchup that would be a badass book. You ready? The Juggernaut versus Doomsday. It's definitely Doomsday, but I'm like, tell me that wouldn't be a kick-ass book.
Yep. Oh boy, you know what? I'm just looking through. You ever see that Super Team Family fan covers of different crossovers? Where they somehow are finding ways to hold on, I'll just send it to you. It's a great blog.
It does have a son, so maybe we can do that instead.
Oh yeah, Genisval. We went over that.
Oh yeah. All right.
Hold on, take a look at some of these covers.
Okay, I'm gonna move this over here so I can share it. All right, so let's do this. 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. 1 second.
Just look through some of these edited covers. They are so good.
Real quick, NJ says, hopefully Wonder Woman and Storm team up and befriend each other from the start and not fight. This is a superhero book. Chances are they'll fight first and then befriend each other.
It's a common trope. It's a misunderstanding. Ooh, they figure out what's going on and they team up towards the end.
Cool.
Yeah, but scroll through some of these. These are some crazy crossovers that they somehow make look like it works.
Iron Man, Solomon Grundy. Okay.
Yeah, this guy has edited these for years.
Starman and Space Ghost. Ooh. It happened on Cybertron.
I just saw this. Mace Windu and Samurai Jack.
Oh, there you go.
That's how crazy these crossovers are. Oh, duh! X-Men Doom Patrol! Duh!
Well, yeah, there you go. That's kind of what they are.
Hold on. Yeah. Punisher and Darkwing Duck.
Okay, now we're getting that's not Marvel.
Hey, Xena versus Wonder Woman. Red Sonja Wonder Woman.
And then look at the next one. Predator versus the Phantom.
Oh God. Oh God!
Look at that, Justice League Sentry.
Oh God!
Detroit.
It's the crappy Justice League. Oh no!
Or Silver Surfer versus Starro.
That would be a good one. Fantastic Four and Power Girl. How much on a bet? That's because of the Fantastic Four and Superman one.
Wait. Power Girl, She-Hulk.
Ooh, and they both talk about being objectified.
You have Jason Aaron. Yeah, just have Jason Aaron write it.
Oh yeah, exactly. Moon Knight and Hawk and Dove. Okay.
Again, you gotta check throughout this whole site, dude. It's insane.
I'll check it out. I'll check.
Look at that. Yeah. I mean, ooh.
So what's another really good crossover that you guys would like to see?
Oh, I had one.
Booster Gold and Star-Lord.
All right.
That's more of the same, but I get your.
And they both go, you look like Chris Pratt. I'm only kidding.
Amanda Waller versus Nick Fury.
Amanda Waller versus. Oh, God, that's going to be fun.
No, that's a team up in of itself. That's not even a crossover.
No, why would that be a team up? Fury would definitely feel that and wouldn't trust Amanda Waller as far as he can throw her.
Oh, I got it. No, here's the crossover. Hear me out on this real first. I'm going to pitch you a story. It's Maria Hill versus Amanda Waller, but it's really through the Thunderbolts and the Suicide Squad.
Okay, that could work.
I bet you no, I got it. So the idea is the government only has funding for one team. So the Suicide Squad and Thunderbolts do a race to see who could get this high first.
From Marvel side, Henry Gyrick.
And?
No, with Amanda. Those two are so alike. Those two are so
Oh
alike.
yeah, is he the one in the sword book that was constantly a pain?
Yes, and he was the one during the ROM Space Night when they're trying to do it. He's ready to take the neutralizer and wipe out all human superpowered beings. Why? Because they're going to attack humanity soon in his eye. And it was to the point where when I went over with my friends Alex and Eric, and I was reading it, we just went, "Shut up!" Oh,
Yeah.
Doctor Strange, Doctor Fate.
Doctor Strange Fate.
Well, duh.
Oh my gosh, Scarlet Witch and Doctor Fate. That's another good one. I could see that. He was also in X-Men. Yes, he was in 97, which I enjoyed. But Cameron says, House of M, but Wanda is so powerful it reaches to the DC universe when he basically...
Forget it, can still handle it.
Dormammu versus the Spectre.
Spectre. No. Spectre versus the Living Tribunal.
I don't know how powerful the Living Tribunal is.
He's pretty much God's judge.
So wouldn't it be a better match of the Presence versus the Living Tribunal?
No. That's completely different.
Oh, okay. Because I thought the Presence was God in the DC universe.
No. That's he who sits above all.
Mm-hmm.
Also known as the Presence. No. That would be saying you're having God go after one of his subjects.
Okay, I see.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying both Spectre and the Living Tribunal are close enough in hierarchy.
Mm-hmm.
You have the God's rage and vengeance and God's judge.
I see. That makes sense.
Constantine versus Dr. Voodoo. Nah.
Who's Dr. Voodoo? Oh, was he the guy in Hickman's Avengers run?
And he took over as Sorcerer Supreme after World War Hulk.
Yeah. J. Jonah Jameson and Lois Lane.
Perry White.
But yeah, and Perry White. I was trying to make a Lois joke, Robert. Trigon.
Nope, I'm sorry. Perry makes more sense. And
that's true.
And you know what? But here's the place he is. I think Perry would still respect Jonah and point out, like, why do you focus on, Jonah, you write good stuff. I was just looking at some of your pieces and defending mutants, because he does defend mutants. You are a good reporter. But for some reason, this Spider-Man guy, you just keep on blindly and looking at things the wrong way. How many retractions have you had to do? To his show say, hey, it's better than be blindly praising Superman. To his parent and say, if Superman gave me a reason to hate him, I would do it.
Yeah. By NJ says, I'm going to answer this question a trick way. Diana would be close friends with all three of them because Diana is that nice.
Ooh,
that's my trick question.
Ooh. Oh, Elektra Artemis. Not Elektra, I mean, Elektra Artemis.
And by Artemis, you mean the Amazon, right?
Yes.
Trigon is tired of trying to take over Raven after Numerous Pharaohs, so he finds out about Wanda and sends the church so he can take over.
Maybe
good for a one shot, but not a full crossover.
But I would say this: I think that magic would be too wild. I think even Trigon wouldn't want to mess with the chaos magic.
Or according to He Must Not Be Named, there is no chaos magic, Robert.
Okay, that got ignored.
I know.
Oh, wait. Trigon tries to take over the Phoenix.
Oh, hell yes. Now that's a story.
Because one, we already know Raven is more powerful than Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
That I put this death battle on. Oh. So as far as Trigon thinks, he could handle the Phoenix, unlike his daughter.
Now I got a crossover for you. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Hulk gets a Red Lantern ring.
Oh.
I'm telling you, dude, that story writes itself, man.
Wait. Here's the easiest one. Scarecrow and Scarecrow. Remember, Marvel has its own Scarecrow.
Yeah. No, but imagine Hulk with a Green Lantern ring spewing out the plasma.
You mean a Red Lantern ring.
Red Lantern ring, yeah, exactly.
Wait. Red Hulk.
Red Hulk with a Red Lantern ring.
No. Wait. He gets the blue ring.
Red Hulk gets the blue ring?
No, not blue.
Green?
Green. He gets, because Ross can be willful and courageous.
That works. I like that one. And it leads into like a War of Light, like other rings show up in the Marvel universe.
She-Hulk gets Betty gets the Sapphire.
Oh,
Betty, Red She-Hulk.
I can kind of see that.
And she loves Bruce.
Yeah, I could see that. The love is so intense. Yeah.
Rick gets blue.
And he turns into A-Bomb. It's just blue A-Bomb with like the blue symbol on there. That works. I like that one. Oh,
yeah.
Captain America and a JSA crossover taking place in World War II going up against Hydra. Yep, that's what Robert brought up. That's a good one.
Yep, yeah, the Invaders.
The Rogues and the Sinister Six. Yes.
Yo.
Oh, Juggernaut with the Speed Force. Yes.
Those two would go to war. The Rogues and the Sinister Six, because remember, Rogues have standards.
Yeah, as far as I know, Rogues actually do not kill, right? Innocence, yeah, exactly.
No women, no kids.
And isn't it like they don't want to kill Barry?
No, they didn't want to kill Wally because they knew we don't kill speedsters, period, because that's going to break. Because look what happened when they killed Bart.
Mm-hmm.
It was the biggest headache they ever had.
Yeah, so here's the thing. I'm surprised any supervillain wants to kill a Justice Leaguer, because it's like the minute you kill one, you got like all of them after you.
Dude, here's the perfect one. Kingdom Come and Earth X.
Oh, hell yeah, because that's pretty much what Marvel's is. I said that in my review. Which, by the way, Earth X is super badass. Like, oh my God.
Red X and Bullseye.
Red X is a joke.
I got one.
Exactly.
Deceased versus Marvel Zombies.
Oh, wait. I got it. New Gods and Eternals.
New Gods would so win.
True, but still.
New Gods have Darkseid, dude. Come on.
No, New Genesis and the Eternals.
Who will Eobard Thawne get along with in Marvel?
No one. He's a troll.
I think he would go, oh, more people I could screw with.
Yep. By the way, it's so obvious the way he's written, despite how his speech bubble is and the way he's drawn, then that DC science thing, that's supposed to be Hunter.
Yeah.
Because that's Wally's Reverse Flash.
Now, I got one. Who would fight? Who in the Marvel, in the DC universe besides Batman would fight a Predator? Because technically, a Predator is a Marvel Comics character right now.
Well, Superman fought out with Green.
Like this way, anyone that hasn't had a versus Predator crossover.
Nightwing.
I could see that.
I can't say Tim because Tim dealt with him in one of the Batman books.
Yeah, and besides Wonder Woman, because I pitch that every single time we talk about this.
Well, and Wonder Woman was in the JLA one, so that don't count anyway.
Oh yes, that is true. That's a good one.
Same with Flash and Green Lantern and Martian Manhunter and Plastic Man.
Aquaman.
Oh, I just got one. Reed Richard, the Fantastic Four and the Terrifics.
Oh yeah, it's kind of.
Hey, come on! And the big question: who's smarter, Mr. Terrific or Reed Richards?
Or the Challenges of the Unknown?
True, but come on, no, Reed or Terrific.
They have a charity like trivia brain off, if you will.
Yep, and who's the better stretcher, Plastic Man or Reed?
Yeah. Would a story of the League of Assassins in the Hands go to war work? Yeah, I think that would work. That'd be really fun. I could so see that. Tevia asks, who would the Batman who laughs get along with? Carnage?
Maybe, but given how even Joker and Carnage couldn't get along.
That is true.
I still love Joker saying, like, you're the I'm the Orson Welles. You're the Days of Hasselhoff, and he's like, no, wait, that's even Hasselhoff's better than you.
By the way, I love where the Joker hates the Red Skull because even the Joker hates Nazis. I love that. That's so good.
I may be a lunatic, but I'm gonna Mary Jane's. No.
Why?
Why?
I would not subject. No.
Does MJ not like Mary Jane?
No. Hang on. I would not subject Mary Jane to that abuse.
Well, yeah, why, MJ? Why do you not like MJ?
Yeah, because it's. I think it's like to get him away from Diana.
But why MJ? No, Steve and Paul, and then they die.
Well, here's what you could do.
Uh,
Here's what would be a good pair, and actually a good pairing that you could do a good story with. Steve and Carol.
Yeah, they're both military.
They're both military and stuff, so, and they both have that like common experience. That would actually be a really cool story.
The maker is Evil Reed, Tevya. Let's not go there.
Yeah, we're not doing evil versions of other characters because then we'd be here for hours. But let's do a couple more, and then we'll talk about Superman.
I'm trying to think of some good ones. Ooh.
Let's see.
Oh. Nick Fury and Sergeant Rock during World War II.
Yes. How about Wolverine?
I never cared for the Dark Claw thing.
Yeah, we're not doing Dark Claw. Amalgam characters don't count.
No, I'm saying no. I never cared for that. That's what they decided to combine them with. I'm like, really? What? The Robin Jubilee thing?
And by the way, Cameron, and Namor versus Aquaman story would literally be they fight over who rules all the water.
Mm-hmm.
Which, to be clear, great story idea. I would love that. And obviously, Aquaman would kick Namor's ass. That's why.
Oh, Deathstroke and Wolverine.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, having purple healing factors.
All right, Robert. When Marvel versus DC did Aquaman and Namor, I predicted Aquaman would win.
Oh, what? So did I. Oh, wait. Doc Ock and Green Goblin.
They're both Marvel.
Oh, sorry, why did I say that then? Lex and Goblin.
Yes, but it's Iron Patriot Goblin.
Yeah.
They fight
and their armors.
No,
they work together to bring Spider. Because originally, that's why they had to go with Doc Ock instead of because Goblin was dead.
Oh, that would be so good.
Because originally it was supposed to do Circe and Loki.
Oh, hell yeah. That is a great idea, NJ. Wow.
That is Vision Red Tornado.
Thor.
Vision Red Tornado.
Yes, Wonder Woman Thor. So.
Yep. But come on, Vision Red Tornado. Come on. The two robots, I'm wanting to be real boy robots.
Absolutely. And by the way, if there's a Marvel character that I would ship Diana with, it is Thor.
Oh, here's a big one that would be a big threat between the two. The universes. Galactus and the Anti-Monitor.
Oh, God. That would end the universe. That'd be like Darkseid War, but on steroids. God.
Hey, come on. There's anyone besides, not counting Darkseid, that could handle Galactus. Fully satiated.
It's Mobius.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll give you that. Okay, so let's transition to...
Wait. Last one.
Yeah.
Supreme and Apollo.
Yes, I love that.
Battle of the knockoffs.
Yeah, exactly.
Or Supreme and Mr. Majestic.
Either of those. So the Superman test screenings. Now, here's the thing. The test screenings did lead to some changes in the movie. From what I hear, they toned down the humor.
A little, but it's not like 20 minutes. Nothing like that.
It's not like that much, but the point is they toned down the humor, which that's a big plus in my mind because again, that was my concern with like James Gunn being on. It shows that they're taking it seriously.
And I think they're probably going to trim that dog jumping on bit.
Yeah, they need to at least
again, just a few seconds, just a second or two.
Trim out the screen where he goes, oh.
Or I said, and trim a second or two out.
Yeah, because it just goes on for way too long, and that's what Gunn tends to do in his other movies. He has these jokes that he hangs on to, and just buries them in the ground. But if he's doing it this way, this is a good sign if they're toning down the humor.
And I gotta say, I am so glad to see them do that charity thing.
Oh yeah, that's great. And by the way,
yeah.
I'm fine with Superman having humor. Even Man of Steel had some humor in it, as long as it's organic and not like infantile, which again, this is why I'm happy and I wanted to talk about this because that's very important. Right. Again, it's not like they cut out a half hour of the movie. They probably just like tweaked out a
minute or two. It's not locked in yet. Not till Friday.
Yeah, it's not locked in yet. But the point is, it's like they're working on because that shows me again that they're taking this serious. Because that's my concern with the movie is the humor. That's my prime concern. If they can achieve a proper balance, I'm totally down. Let's do
JJheat, your thoughts?
Yeah, go ahead, JJheat.
Yeah, I actually did have an upcoming video about this, whether or not this movie had potential. But based on everything you guys talked about in here, it could make or break the DCU. I'm just saying this could go either way. I mean, you're already skipping the origin story. This is already going to be an ensemble piece, taking elements from Truth, Justice, the American, basically Superman versus the Elite. I forget the original name off the top of my head. Superman versus the Elite, All Star, and the retro aesthetic with Christopher Reeves. I just don't want this movie to fall into the same trap that Superman Returns of 06 did, with the intergenerational gap, and y'all get what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to go that far.
Yeah, but let me put it this way. It's all good. This is good. No. We're not saying trim out the entire thing, Brick.
No, just the whole jumping on him part.
Well, yeah, but I'm not, because it's just like don't go too long on that joke. And Britt says that they have to take it serious because it's spring. Yeah, exactly. That's why they have to do it. Because again, they have to take it seriously because, as we've said before, the future of the DCU is dependent on this movie doing well.
Yep.
So they need to take this seriously. So that's about all I want to talk about. That it's all good. I'm interested. Now, there's one more thing that I want to talk about. So Christopher McQuarrie, the director of a few of the Mission Impossible movies, was doing an interview, and he talked about what his pitch for Superman was. Because remember, he pitched a movie. This was back when Cavill announced he was back, and like we got word that a Superman movie with him was in development. It was the Man of Steel 2. And what he said is, first, Green Lantern was going to show up in this. Hal Jordan, probably played by Tom Cruise, which I think Tom Cruise would have played a great Hal Jordan.
Yep. And can I get one thing out of the way?
Yeah.
Because I saw this online. Gunn had nothing to do with it. This was before Gunn. He was still finishing up Guardians of the Galaxy 2, getting into 3 before he got the boot for a little while. So nothing to do with it. I've seen people try to bring that up.
No, McQuarrie Superman pitch that I'm talking about came out.
Yeah, I know.
When Black Adam.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Black Adam came out. Yeah.
No, because what happened is that Cavill announced at the end of after Black Adam that he was coming back, and then we got news that McQuarrie was developing a Superman
But
movie.
Black Adam was 2022.
Yeah.
All right. And we didn't know about Cavill coming back until close to release.
Until the weekend after it released.
Yeah, but the McQuarrie thing was in 2016. It was in 2016.
No,
2017.
This too, I believe.
No,
the point is, McQuarrie was going to develop a Superman movie, and so first off, it would have featured it was going to be a follow up to Man of Steel, so it is a sequel to Man of Steel, particularly.
It would have gone a different direction.
No. What it would have done, by the way, in the first 5 minutes, Robert, it would have shown like a little bit more into Superman and why he made the decision to kill Zod.
Oh, I didn't hear that part.
Yeah, because here's what he said. The first 5 minutes of the movie was a setup, after which you knew exactly what made Superman tick and exactly what made Superman most afraid of and why Superman made the choices he made.
But that doesn't mean it was specifically focusing on Zod.
If it's a follow-up to Man of Steel, that's what he's saying. And
okay.
And it would have been epic in the 5. So essentially, you know how like in the movie Up, where they have that opening quiet sequence that shows like the guy's life. It's that. It's essentially that, but with Superman saving stuff, and which I think that could have been really good.
Well, okay, Cameron, that's a little harsh.
Wait, I'm glad to hear it's pitching because that adds more fuel to the fire of Bastion Zach for people. That say no one talks about the movies. They sure do love bringing them up. Well, no. This is because McQuarrie was asked about this on a podcast interview because he had pitched it and it was part of the conversation.
He wanted to bring Green Lantern, but I got a feeling that wouldn't have gone beyond the pitch.
Yeah, we're not saying that like other people, like anti-Snyder people, brought this up. And here's the thing. Now, the question that I see like a few of my internet friends talking about is, would the Snyder fans have been on board with this?
Given how things were for Black Adam, I don't know.
Here's why I say yes. Because McQuarrie was going off of what Zach did and building upon what Zach did with Man of Steel. He's not trying to like undermine it or like undo it and stuff. And McQuarrie also said Superman has to stop living in the shadows of Reeves and the John Williams theme.
I think he did a little more to that, though. I think there was more to that.
No, he didn't. I listened to the clip.
All right, I kept hearing there was more to that sentence. That's what I'm saying. I heard there was more to it.
No, because what he means is that you can't keep like expecting Superman to always be like Chris Reeves. Chris Reeves is on his own. Even Chris Reeves himself wanted Superman to be different at the end of his tenure.
Okay, I say this. You got to step away from it being purely Reeves, but at the same time, the difficulty with that one, it's the standard. It set the standard, and it was pretty close adaptation to the comics at the time. So that's where you got to get that little conflictingness of it.
I mean, you could take elements from it, absolutely, but it's like here's the thing. Man of Steel reflects the way Superman was in the comics at that time period because you had.
And I get that. But here's the question: I gotta ask you. When you say that, what do you mean exactly of being too much like Reeves? Because that's where it gets a little hard. Because you could mean don't be uplifting, don't be and that's what one could read into
too far.
It's a balancing act. It's a very delicate balance.
Exactly. It should be a balancing act.
I'm fine with Superman being uplifting because that's his character, but I see a lot of Superman movies go too far in the
whimsical. You don't want whimsical.
I don't want. You can have some
whimsy
of that because you are dealing with comic book movies, but a lot of people go way too far with it.
Okay, that I get, but that's where I feel like I don't even think Superman, the Reeves movie, was pure whimsical.
The first two were fine. The first two I think were fine. And then in terms of the John Williams theme, I'm of the opinion that every Superman should have their own unique theme. Returns is different because that's directly a continuation of that Superman. So it makes sense that one had it.
Yes.
That one I was fine with because that's legit like a sequel to at least two.
And I have to say, I do kind of agree with Mark Waid about the current one. It is different enough. There's the thematicness, but it is different enough.
Yeah, it has elements of it, but you know what? Exactly. It's different enough that I'm like, okay.
It's grown on me. It's grown on me because it's like, okay.
I like it. It again, you can take certain elements of it. It's just when they legit just play that theme, and I have
right. Because I've been re-listening to it over and over when they released it on their YouTube channel. I'm like, you know what? This is not one-to-one. This is not one-to-one.
Well, and here's the thing: how do we know that's legit Superman's theme in the movie? Because it could be that was just a trailer thing.
Exactly. That's what it says in the video. Trailer version.
Assuming it is that.
Well, I did hear. They say because there's two composers, and the second composer has been there since January. This is not something recent like some people are claiming. And that the one guy was brought in just to redo the theme, and both musics are going to be used in there. That tells me it is the theme. Because why would they then use it and just say it's just for the trailer?
So let's say it is. Again, let's put it this way. It has some thematic elements of that, but it still feels unique. So that's the balancing act done well.
Yes.
And that's why I say it's not necessarily like in the shadow of Chris Reeves. Again, you could take elements from that because
that's why I wasn't willing to complain and say you were wrong. I was just trying to say when you say something like that, you got to be specific what you mean because people can misinterpret.
And I appreciate that, Rob, because what Man of Steel did, at least for me, it took the basic story of Superman 78 of like a being that doesn't know his place in the world and becomes this great protector and fights a great threat. It took
post 9/11. Let's be honest. It fit in a
post 9/11 world. It essentially told the post 9/11 version of that story. If this movie did come out, would it do well in the box office?
I don't know.
It would.
Well, but to be fair though, that's just a pitch. So it's hard to go off a pitch.
But assuming everything went well, I think it would have because you have McQuarrie, you have Cavill. This is in the Man of Steel thing.
And it would have been what Cavill was wanting.
Yeah, and by the way, this too many people on the internet take the whole Cavill wanting a more upbeat Superman as Cavill saying he hated what Zach did with
I don't
Superman.
think that.
No,
I don't think that. He just wants to go in a different direction.
Yeah, he's saying that's the direction that Zach was always going to go in. By Angie says, do you think WB interference regarding these major cuts would ruin the movie? Would it be?
Yeah, because Warner Bros. Has nothing to do with this.
Well, let me put it this way: the studio that would be making the final decision in terms of of the cuts and stuff, that is Gunn. They can make recommendations like if he screens it for Zaslav, but it's not like he legit has to do that.
It's like when Gunn sent the notes for Joker. That was on the Warner Brothers department, not the DC studios. And he couldn't do anything.
The only thing I hear he did right was the ending scene of Flash with Batman.
Yeah, that was the only thing, because he just wanted to make sure that it didn't go anywhere to give a false, hope.
I still think it's stupid to have that Batman just
yeah, but
do it.
I gotta laugh.
Yeah, but it was funny. But with this, it's more like Gunn. No, here's the thing: it's more like Gunn is taking this seriously because he knows and he has said so. If Superman doesn't do well, chances are we won't get to make movies because chances are, in the unlikely event that Superman completely bombs, here's what the future looks like with DC: either just Batman movies or just solo movies for a long time.
Mostly Batman movies. That's the most likely.
Mostly Batman movies because that's the most, and maybe some animated series is on Max. That's it.
If that. No, HBO Max.
They're going back to HBO Max again.
Good.
Yes, because HBO has that certain idea of quality around it.
And I gotta say this.
That away.
I think they can keep affording the Max
trademark.
Yeah, or the website domain.
The Flash's original ending would have been, but still true. With Cavill and Godot and Cavill meeting Kaye, you could have edited it like that. Imagine the gun cut would be a thing. Release the gun cut. It wouldn't be because whatever cut he produces is his cut.
It always has.
Yeah, but that would be hilarious. Release the gun.
That would be funny, yeah. That would be funny, yes.
That would happen, by the way, if this movie bombs. People say, "What's the real gun cut?" That would be interesting. But in terms of of this movie, would I have liked this? Yeah, I think so because again, it's more of Cavill Superman and stuff. And it sucks that chances are this won't happen, but it's a cool thing to think about. But I think that's a good place to leave this show. This was a good one. We went for almost 2 hours. Oh, geez. But so Robert, where can one find you and what have you got coming on your channel?
You can check out the link down below. I celebrate my 550th Pro Teachers Noob, and next week I got Blackest Night Week.
Hell yeah!
Me and Peacock every day for the whole week, 5 episodes in a row covering Blackest Night.
Yeah, exactly. How about you, JJheat?
As for me, I recently achieved my 300 subscriber milestone. So thank you. And
hang on. I have the perfect thing to play for this. The perfect clip. Where is it? Got it. You said.
Yep, 300. Hey, that was my 300th Pro Teacher Noob. Remember?
Oh, there you go.
You were there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely got a little something cooked up with these guys for the 300 special.
It's gonna be fun.
So stay tuned for that. Also, I do retrospectives, gaming content. Please like, comment, subscribe, and thanks for having me.
His link will be in the description. Do subscribe to JJheat. He does great work, and subscribe to Robert as well. All the Comics League crew, they do a great job. I only accept the best. As for me, tomorrow's movie night is going to be Justice League Crisis on 2 Earth at 6 p.m. And then on Monday, it's going to be a pre-recorded episode of Super Wonder where Britt and I discuss how the relationship between Superman and Wonder Woman aligns with the original intentions / themes of the Golden Age Superman and Wonder Woman. For Wonder Woman Wednesday, I'm going to be talking about Wonder Woman's relationship to the Greek gods and the Pantheon. And yeah, that's what I got. So Stay heroic, everyone. Remember, Lois Lane is Lois Lane. She belongs to General Zod. And Steve Trevor, Steve Never. He belongs 6 feet in the ground and on fire. Zois and Max are bad for life. See you later. Bye-bye.